Welcome to the Three Path Profits podcast, where we'll talk about business, finance, social media, and everything in between on our paths to profit. Three different people, three different side hustles, one common goal profit. My name is Kyle,
My name is Lexi.
My name is Amanda.
and we're your hosts. Set the proper expectations for today's episode. Our format will be as follows. First, we'll hear from Lexi, who will talk about everything related to her Etsy shop. Then we'll hear from myself, who will go over the investment portfolio. Last up, we'll hear from Amanda, who will go over the latest in the social media world. Let's dive in.
Okie dokie. So just to kind of go with some stats, the last 7 days for my Etsy shop, I had 4 views, 3 visits, and 0 orders. The last 30 days, I had 58 views, 39 visits, and 0 orders. Overall, not super happy, but I'm not like super upset because again, I haven't posted anything really within the last like 2 weeks. I just posted something today, but that's going to be on next week's. On stats wise and see how much that does for me. I'm thinking about posting something on my personal Instagram again, especially whenever I'm done with the more intricate design on my Yeti, along with the first one that I did was just a last name. The money tracking, nothing has changed. I'll go over everything again. Spent on supplies, $543.10. Sales, I had $604.40. Shipping was $15.99. Etsy fees, which includes listing fees, processing fees, and transaction fees, was $14.94. The total net profit through Etsy sales was $73.43. So technically in the whole $469.63. So kind of going off of like the time, which I know we were talking about, um, start to finish on a detailed, intricate citrus strip design project was roughly 45 minutes, with me completely carving out everything to make it look how I wanted it to. Granted, it was a fail whenever I timed that because I just didn't like the way it turned out. But I still, if I were to keep that, it would have been 45 minutes. So if I timed my per rate hour at about 25 to $30 with buying the tumbler and materials, I would slash could have to charge a decent penny for that just because again a Yeti tumbler is, depending on the size, it could range anywhere from like what, like $30 to $60. And then again, plus if it's going to take me roughly an hour, and then also shipping fees, which is going to weigh more, so it's going to be more on shipping. So just kind of like totaling all of that, it's going to be on the higher side of pricing. I mean, I know a lot of people would pay obviously higher for a Yeti just because it is a nice cup and they would go out and buy it with nothing on it. Obviously,
So, do you know what a pricing would look like for that then?
I mean, if I were to put it on,
Because you're gonna list this item, right? So you're gonna.
yeah, so if I were to put it on this Yeti, which is like my 64-ounce Yeti, which was like, I think it was $60. Say I charged my time at 25. We'll go on the lower side of it right now. We're already at $85 plus time and materials. Splitting the difference of it, it would honestly only probably be like $5. And then shipping's probably at least going to be 10.
So you're gonna be charging 90 to $100
Easy.
for a customizable Yeti of that size and proportion.
Easy.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about it, though, like they're already willing to spend that much on a normal Yeti, so they got to be willing to spend significantly more on a personalized one.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't be able to put it really anywhere under that without it being just like not worth my time.
I agree, and that's why I was gonna say I think you would need to be north of 120 if
Yeah.
that's the cost structure. Like you need to be
I mean, yeah,
north of 110, I think.
to make a profit, yeah, absolutely.
Have you looked at what the comps are?
No, I haven't looked
And
at,
that's where to be competitive with comps, if you're offering a customizable Yeti like that at $85 a pop, that's going to be competitive,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my God, yeah.
That's going to be very competitive, and I think that is. I mean, that's probably the market rate. I mean, have you looked at comps?
No, I haven't really, just because I haven't actually done anything that I've wanted that's post worthy to me. Yes, I've done like the just my last name on the Yeti, but I wanted to do something more intricate. I haven't finished that yet, which is why I'm waiting until I finish something that I'm completely happy with. Because again, the first one, like, it just didn't come out how I wanted to. Like, there's more things I'll touch on next week when I'm like all said and done with the project, because again, like, there's things that I'm finding out now that I'm like that wasn't super great, but I would say like there's a lot of things I want to touch on, if that makes sense. Also, sorry, at the end there, I kind of like lost my train of thought. I was just like kind of talking, so that was like, if you know what I mean, like I completely was out at the end of that. Anyway. Like,
I thought it was good. No, I thought it was good.
I totally didn't see that you like. It didn't seem like you lost.
Yeah,
your
it didn't seem like it at all. Actually, I was totally with you like, the whole time.
okay.
So I guess I was lost too. Like you had it, you did the loss so good that I was just with you the whole
I
I
was
time.
with
think
you
like
too.
I like knew what I was saying, but at the end, like I just like kind of forgot what my whole train of thought was. Sorry. It was just like one of those like you've been talking for so long that you're just like, wait, what did I like? What was I even getting at?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
too good.
Anyway, just some like general updates. I did make and post the video using the Citrus Strip with my new stand. So we'll see how that turns out stats wise on kind of views and whatnot. Again, those were all like my fail compilation videos, like together, um, of things that I tried with the Citrus Strip that either just like didn't work on the cup, it didn't come out how I wanted it to, and it was more just to like post to show people like that you might spend time on a project and it might just not turn how you want to. Like, you're gonna spend money, you're gonna spend time on things that just don't come out exactly how you want, and that's okay. I thought the sound was funny on it just because I was like, this is what goes through my brain once I'm making a project that I know is going to be a fail. Um, but so I guess we'll see how that turns out. I am working on another project of the one that I'm coming up with now that I think is going to turn out good. I'm already seeing little things that I don't love, but I'm still going to post that start to finish and we'll see how it turns out at the end. Um, and I do want to post my pictures and videos possibly to my personal Instagram when that's done as well, for promotion wise. So some goals and shout outs. I want to just continue making projects, keep posting my shop when applicable, and my personal Instagram just for promotion wise. And I did come up with a new goal. It's make a sale that isn't a friend or family member. And I thought, obviously, like, all of my sales have been friends or family members. So I thought that one was just a good one to really not have it be someone that I know. Even if it is just like a distant friend, I would really prefer it be just a complete stranger to me. So just to kind of shout out, it's at Anything Cricket Co on all socials and my Etsy shop.
I love that goal.
Thanks.
I agree.
I love that goal. And it actually reminded me, I've been meaning to text you the bookmark that I won. And
Yes.
you said I could gift to someone else.
Yeah.
Whenever I was with my cousins this weekend, my one cousin loves to read, so I have who I want to gift it to. I just needed to tell you what to put on it.
Okay.
I had one comment to add,
Okay.
or one question. In editing older episodes, it's always funny. I hear questions that I ask and things like that, and then it makes me think to bring them up. So if that Yeti would take you 45 minutes to do,
Mm-hmm.
realistically, 45 minutes an hour, we'll say an hour for one, from start to finish, final product.
Okay.
The question was like, how would you handle an influx of an order of north of 100 at a time? because you do have a full-time job. This is a side hustle. If you got an order for 100 tomorrow, how would you tackle that and what would that look like?
I mean, for something this size and caliber, it's a lot different than the question you asked with the bookmarks, because I know which question you're referring to. And at that point in
Mhm.
time, that would have been easy and something I could take under my belt right away. But I think with something this size and again, intricacy, trying to make sure that all of them are perfect, it would take me probably closer on the hour just to make sure everything comes out exact. That would definitely be I would have to essentially reach out
That's
to
That's where in that episode I was kind of asking, like, that's the art of it, right? Like,
yeah,
I didn't understand where you said at times it was really just like you put it in the Cricut and then the Cricut does it. And like until I saw how the Cricut worked, I didn't understand that there's still the art to it. Like you're still interacting with it, you're still doing the labor
yeah,
in addition to what the Cricut allows you to do.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Cricut essentially just cuts it out, and I then have to
Apply it.
take it from the
Right.
cutout and apply it onto whatever item I'm putting it on. So I would say again, for a especially like a bunch of Yetis and using the citrus strip, especially because that's only the labor that I'm putting into the project. Not the I'm not even accounting for the amount of time that I just have to wait. Like I have to let the citrus strip sit on for like 2 hours before I can even go back to it.
Really.
So, essentially like I worked for about like 20 minutes, then I came back after those 2 hours and then I went back to
So
it for
it
like
is
another
more of
25.
a yeah.
So,
Okay.
like, an order like that for fucking 100, oh my god. I couldn't even begin.
I would think you would have to just like take a day or two off work and
Yeah.
grind. But I do think too, doing more than one at once, it kind of
You
scales
get
it a little
economies of
bit.
scale for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
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 Because like you can do a few things at once. It's not like you're just waiting on one thing to dry. Like you can keep working on other ones while that one's drying, there'd
Yeah.
be overlap of
That
time.
2 hour wait period doesn't become an issue
Right.
when you're doing 100
Yeah.
at
Right.
once.
Yeah. Which is why again, like I couldn't honestly begin to tell you what the time frame that would look like. I would genuinely have to really start doing some calculations on what I could do in between, what it would genuinely look like from start to finish, especially with also ordering the Yetis because I wouldn't have them. I would have to go out and buy them and most likely order them because it's going to be hard to get 100, even a 40 Yetis of all the same color, size, or whatever
Yeah.
right away.
It's
Right.
So,
not like you can go to Walmart and get a bulk order of 50.
yeah. So, like, I would say it'd definitely be a thing where I'd have to talk to
Yeah.
the consumer and say, "Hey, like what is your genuine time frame you need these by? I'd love to work with you on this. Like let's try to come up with something. I could send what I have."
What if it was a spontaneous 100 different individuals placed orders? I think these are like
Yeah.
challenging but also exciting questions, right?
No,
Cuz
yeah,
like
for
this is
sure.
obviously like where it goes.
I mean, if they were all 100 different, I think you're just at that point, you can change your quote unquote processing time on each like listing that you have. I could up
Mhm.
my processing time on my
What do you have your
site of
processing
that
time set at now?
7 to 10 business days,
Okay.
which includes shipping for those items.
Okay.
Which again though, like I'm pretty sure the whenever I send the bookmarks out and whatnot, like those got there the next day. Like
Right.
Yeah.
so it and those only took me again like 20 minutes tops. So I think it again would just kind of it'd be kind of how I tackle anything in my life. Whatever is on the top of my list, get it done, and then work my way down the list.
Get it done, do it now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and if I can, I'm going to get it done as early as possible rather than that last minute because I hate to be fucking stressed about that shit. So
So I'll bring up just to remind you, I have the episode edited and you don't have the reels done. Just to bring that up.
fuck off.
We're on what, episode 12, and this is the first time
Here
that's
nor
ever
there.
happened.
And mine aren't even due until Sunday. Yours are due today, babe.
Hey, that's here nor there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want to hear it.
Start with a portfolio update. Like always, net asset value of the portfolio is $1,137.21. That is a year-to-date gain of 5.79% versus the S&P, which is up 16.4. So down comparatively, but we're still in the green, which is always a good thing. Now we'll screen share the Excel doc here like we do. All right. Can you guys see this okay?
Yep.
So down here is going to be the amount of money that I've deposited into the account. So you can see it's now up to 75. We had the initial investment of $1,000 and then the 50 to start off the recurring investment and then the 25 from this week. Okay. Current portfolio is at 1,137.21 like we mentioned. It's a $62.21 unrealized profit or a 5.79% return. We've received $12.47 in total dividends so far. And the graph is here as well for reference. A little overlay of 9/11 versus 9/14. Also 9/11, we remember the troops. But 9/11 and 9/4 overlay here. Looking at the difference, you'll see that the $25 of this week was added to the TLT position, bringing it to a $174.46 position. Almost up to 2 full shares there. If you'll look over here, the dividend yield and the dividend through the month, these are things I like to look at comparatively of what I'm trying to build in terms of a portfolio. Is we want a high yield. So things like Blackstone with a 10.2 is good. Things like 3.4 with the TLT is good. Things like 4.4, that's good. Even Ford down 11.4% still. 5.8% yield is good as well. Any thoughts from the gallery on the graphs here?
So you invested additional $50 more in TLT, right? Not 25.
75.
Oh,
Correct. All of the additional investments so far have gone into the TLT.
okay.
It's taken the position size from 100, which is what all of them were. These are
Right.
just roundings.
Yeah.
It's taken it up to around 175.
Well, but isn't this only week 2 of you doing it? So shouldn't it be $50? Why is it 75?
That's what I said. The week 1 actually started out with technically 50 because I
Oh,
put the
right. Yep.
25 in, but then I put in the recurring weekly for that day as well. So it deposited another 25.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it was
I
50
forgot
to
about that.
start, and then another 25 went in this week. So it's at 1,075 initial investment.
Why is Prudential dividends blank?
Because I haven't received a dividend from them yet. They're the only one that I haven't received yet.
But wait, go back to 9/4.
Because I updated this column, actually. Good point. I wanted to touch on this. This column was the dividends or the dividends forward of what it was projecting they were going to pay for the next 12 months. So, like Ford's dividend right now is 15 cents a share. So they're going to pay 60 over the next 12 months. I wanted this column to be this so that I can just add and populate in this cell. So that's what I did here. So I added up all the dividends of my so see this one here, the TLT. I've gotten 3 dividends: 35 cents, 33 cents, and 35 cents. Totals the 103. That's where we're getting the paid dividends. So this dividend, I think, actually gets paid tomorrow.
But there was a number there on 9-4 though.
Correct. Yeah, I just said that. This originally was a populated thing. Like this is all from IBKR.
I get it. I get it.
Transfer it right in.
Yeah.
This just was dividends for the current year
Yeah.
that the stock is going to pay per share. I deleted this
Gotcha. Yep.
and entered my own personal data.
Yep. I'm on the same page now.
You
I
with
got
me?
it. Yep.
Cool.
I guess my question is, are you going to be trying to, I know like obviously you added into TLT the last 2 weeks. Are you going to
Correct.
keep up with that because that's what you're liking right now? Are you going to try to add something? I mean, I know like we've had multiple conversations about this, and like obviously you want to have that conviction bias. I remember we were talking about, Amanda was laughing at that big word, that one episode.
That's super not big word.
So I guess my biggest question is like, are you going to try to switch it up every once in a while, or are you just going to do, I guess, what feels right in the moment?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that's the nuance of managing a portfolio. Right now, I'm trying to build a bigger weight of the portfolio on the TLT for a few reasons. One being that it's my only bond exposure. The rest is pretty much equities and one REIT, which is Blackstone. So, just from a diversification standpoint, it's good that I'm allocating more of my portfolio to bonds and not just solely equities. And then the main idea behind this investment is that the Fed's going to cut interest rates and start an interest rate cutting cycle as soon as next or 2 weeks from now at their meeting. So when they start doing that, the TLT should perform well because their coupon is going to be higher than the new issuance of bonds from the government. So comparatively, the price should appreciate while the coupon remains nice and juicy. So
Okay.
I'm trying to capture that coupon. When I say coupon, I mean dividend. Like that's the 33, 35, and 33 cents that I've gotten each month from owning the one share. Now that I'm adding more shares, I'll get more of that each month. I mentioned a few episodes ago, I think it was 2 or 3, but I'm trying to get more dividends into the portfolio as well more often. So TLT is one that pays every month. So that's one that I wanted to add more to so that it's paying consistently every month. And those 3 reasons are really why I've added to it 2 weeks in a row. It's not going to be solely that every week. I probably will add to it again next week, maybe a few more weeks, but I do want to add a little more to that position before I'm done and rotate elsewhere.
Okay.
That answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool. So now to-dos from past week, I had buy new stock with the weekly deposit. That was the TLT. And then research one new company to review. The new company of the day or of the week is Waste Management. So I'm not sure if you guys have waste management for your disposal service.
Mine's different because we have dumpsters in my community.
Okay. At my house of establishment here, we have waste management cans, recycling, and garbage, and it's an efficient process, and it's a rock solid business. They pay a dividend. They've been a blue chip stock for years now, and it's really based on the idea that everyone's going to keep having garbage, and like that's not going anywhere, and they can basically price whatever they want, and you're still going to put out the garbage on Sunday night. So I like them for that. It's a defensive stock. I've kind of always liked the name. I did own it at one point back in 2019 briefly. I tried to trade the name a little bit, and it's definitely a hold just because it's a dividend aristocrat, raises the dividend a ton. You just hold it and it just appreciates. So, getting into the numbers a little bit now. Waste Management trades at $207 per share, and it has a EPS of $7.27 a share. So makes about $7.27 per share in net income per year, giving it a price to earnings of 28.64. Dividend rate of $3 per year and a yield of 1.4. So comparatively, this is a much lower yield than in my portfolio. Like you just saw, I have more 3, 4, 5% yielding dividend stocks. This only pays a 1.44% yield right now. That's because, like I mentioned, they're known for their dividend increases. So you're really buying it not just for this current dividend, but the appreciation of the income stream itself, not just the stock price. So market cap for Waste Management is 83.5 billion, so pretty significantly sized company. They're pretty large. And year to date they are up 15.72%. That's pretty competitive with the S&P. The S&P is 16%. They're up 15.7, pretty similar. And they're up over 2% over the last month. Let me get the revenue number. I didn't have that on here. So they announced earnings on October 25th. Their revenue estimate is 5.5 billion with EPS of 1.89. So yeah, it's what I thought it was. This is a stock that you could see me adding to the portfolio as early as next week, but like I said, it probably won't be the TLT. But this is a name that you will hear again, and I am fond of, and you could see it in the portfolio as early as next week. So, any questions on Waste Management?
No questions. I just like the researching new investment companies. I like that
Yeah.
addition.
Yeah, there will be a new one for next week. That's in the to dos. We'll get to that here at the end. Earnings calendar. No results to report since last week. Upcoming still the same. Bank of America is going to be the first one in the portfolio on October 15th. Macro and current events have a few here. I'm going to kind of format this in three different sections moving forward. There's going to be an economy section, a politics or geopolitical section, and then just like a life section. So, the economy section, I have here two notes or three notes. Latest consumer price index report for August 2024 shows that inflation continues to ease with a year over year increase of 2.6%, down from a 2.9% annual increase in July. So it's still inflation, but it's at a marginally less rate. There's also this cool graph here. You guys can see it. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah.
I can. I mean, it's not. Yeah.
Let me share screen. All right. Can you guys see that okay?
Yep.
Pretty cool graphic here. As you can see, where inflation is and isn't 12-month change in the price of. So this is saying the price difference between last August and this August. So it has nothing to do with like consecutive gains over month over month. This is purely from last year at this time to now. So it could have went way up and came back down, or it could have went way down and went way up. This is purely just year over year. That's something that a lot of people say of this is somewhat construing, because if you're up 2%, or if you go up 100% over 12 months, and then the next month it's only a 2% increase, you're still up a significant point from where you were a few years ago. But the marginal rate is showing a more is showing less than it actually is. But you'll see here, zooming in the middle, overall inflation is coming in around 2.5%. But some of these are like auto insurance up 16.5% over the last year, rent about 5%, housing rent, groceries right at 1%. I thought that one was notable, being pretty flat. Used vehicles down. Used vehicles and gasoline down 10% and 10%. Any of these notes or any of these statistics sticking out to you guys?
Both new and used vehicles are down.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that obviously doesn't bode well for something like Ford. So you can look at data like this and gain insights on your own portfolio, as it's obviously not good if the new vehicles that Ford are selling at a less price than they were the year before. Um, yeah, new vehicles and used vehicles down significantly. The used car market has a big effect on the new car market, obviously, so those are definitely correlated. But yeah, I thought that was a good graphic to show.
It's a cool graphic.
The latest producer price index for July 2024, or for August 2024, comes out tomorrow. So I will have that update for next week from this month. And then the Fed rate cut should be approaching soon. They said they're probably going to cut in September. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how much. So we'll be looking for either a 25 or 50 point basis cut from the Fed. We'll see what we get. And then on a political front, Trump and Harris debate. Just wanted to bring it up. Did you guys watch it? Do you have thoughts? Mine were that Trump went off script and Harris was kind of impressive from the baseline of what she's offered previously. She just kind of stayed on script and Trump didn't. From my perspective, he kind of got heated at times, but I don't think either of them performed particularly well. The American people were definitely just left wanting more about policy, is kind of the theme of what people have been saying. And most people are asking for another debate because there's just so many questions really about both of them that totally went unanswered, and it was more of just a comedy show than anything. So, did you guys watch it? What are your thoughts?
I only watched about 15 minutes of it. And the 15 minutes that I watched, I feel like were pretty uneventful. I do feel like Trump was getting heated, but I feel like he was kind of in the right, because I feel like they let her talk for much longer than whatever the 2 minutes or whatever they said. And I feel like
See, I
I
thought
feel
the
like they
opposite.
just
I
kept
thought
cutting
that
him
he got
off.
more talk time than her.
I mean, kind of like you said, Kyle, I feel like it was kind of a comedy show. Like they both were just like spewing like digs at each other the entire time.
Yeah.
When like they were asked a question, they were like, hold on, hold on, hold on. Like I need to address what they just said. Like I can't move to that topic. I need to address something else. Like move on to the topic at hand. You might be butthurt about it, but like get over about what they said. Like you have a topic to discuss about. Like you don't need to be like defending yourself. Like it's about what you're going to do. Like I don't know. Like I feel like it was just a lot of like you're going to hear lies.
Mhm. Mhm. There's a
And
lot
then
of that.
every other like 5 seconds it was like that's a lie.
Yeah.
That's a lie. Like they both were just
It
like
was
lie, lie, lie. And I'm like, "Okay, well then what's the fucking truth?"
It was bad. I
Like,
saw like Instagram posts like trying to fact check everything, and like it basically said everything that both sides said was pretty much false.
yeah. So it's just like honestly, it was I I listened to the whole thing and I watched the whole thing and it just seemed. I will say I was impressed with how Harris actually like wasn't completely going in circles on what she was speaking on.
She
That was
seemed like there was more than air in her head.
Yes, that was the first time I
Yeah, I
actually
mean, I
saw her
think
like say something that was like articulate rather than just like
she is
"Ugh."
articulate. I think you can't deny that. After seeing the debate, I think
Yeah,
that quelched a lot of that for a lot of the people who are critical of her, that she hasn't been out in the press and all that stuff. She does speak well in situations like that. And I did think she performed well in that aspect. But like your point, like there's no substance there. Like she doesn't actually talk about anything, even though she sounds good, I guess. But that's the more or less story of the moral of the story here is that they both talked a lot but didn't say a whole lot.
yeah. It was just like digs at each other the whole time. It just wasn't really anything about like things that I feel like actually were what we were questioning or wanted answers on.
No doubt. And then in terms of life, really just football being back is exciting. I love the NFL. That's a huge part of my time this year or this time of year. And it's big for stocks as well. I mean, football as of late has taken, private equity has taken an interest in football where the valuations are have been published of what all the teams are worth, and like even the Green Bay Packers are already publicly owned. Did you guys know that?
I did not.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and I was going to look into this, and I'll put it on my to dos for next week. Um, the Packers are one of our neighbors here who walks their dog, and Maybell plays with them a good bit. We see each other a lot because they're just walking down. Um, they actually own a share of the Green Bay Packers because the franchise like sold itself to the public,
Mm.
which is like really cool,
That
and I didn't
yeah.
know that. But yeah, it's becoming an interest of people in the investing world and in the financial space because these organizations are so profitable and so valuable that people want to invest in them, not just billionaires, but multimillionaires and other people who have funds to invest. So I thought that was interesting, and I'll look into the Green Bay Packers structure because I'm not exactly sure how that transaction went down, but I'll look into that. And it's good to have Steelers back on the TV. Week one win. That's hype.
Hell yeah.
Yup.
And then to review and conclude, goals still just have the one goal of getting to $100 in dividends. Right now, we are at $12.47. So we improved over last week. And to dos for next week are research one new company to review. We'll do like similar setup with that and buy another stock with the weekly deposit for next week. And then look into the Green Bay Packers transaction of ownership. And that's all I got.
My like kind of question comment on like the whole football is back and like betting on sports and whatnot. How much does that affect like the market on sports betting? Like I like
Well, I read
how
an
much is the
article.
increase? Like
I don't know any stats to ramble off, but I did read an article that was, at least the headline was pretty notable, that men, particularly men, young men, are spending more on gambling and cashing out even their investment accounts to sports gamble. And that obviously, there's only so much money in circulation, right? So if they're cashing out their stocks to buy or to bet on the Steelers winning on Sunday, that money is getting pulled out of the stock market. So that's going to pull liquidity away from stocks, lower stock prices. So it's not necessarily good for stocks overall if a ton of money during this time of year is being thrown around on football games every Sunday. But it is good for companies like DraftKings and FanDuel and MGM and all those type of companies that capitalize off of that activity. So I don't have any like stats to throw, but it is significant. And just from an anecdotal standpoint, it is significant as well. Like most people in my type of demographic, mid 20s, mid 30s, middle aged male, they're doing a lot of sports gambling. And I even sports gamble myself, but not to those magnitudes where I'm cashing out investments to make a sports gamble. But yeah, that article said people are actually doing crazy shit like that. So
Dang. That was my only thing for you.
I don't think I have anything for you.
cool.
All right. Me?
Yup.
Do it.
Okay, let me get my screen share going here.
This is cool.
What?
I was looking forward to this.
All right, can you see it? Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So over the last 7 days, I posted my typical 7 videos on Cook and Depot. So over the last 7 days on TikTok, I had 221,000 views, 9,758 likes, and 1.5 thousand additional followers. So now I'm at 16.8 thousand followers on TikTok. And on Instagram, I had 7,603 accounts reached, 102 likes, 8 new followers. So now I'm at 163. And on YouTube, 7,006 views, 233 likes, 20 new subscribers to be at 190. So a couple of things to note in here. The blue, like I mentioned last week, are stats that I need to figure out how to calculate. Instagram can only go back that 90 days. And this column, as I created it right now, is all time. But even on TikTok only goes back 365 days. I just haven't been posting for more than a year yet at this point. So eventually I'm going to have to change this column to probably just be the last 365 days. But even so, I need to figure out how to go back and calculate these stats without Instagram going back more than 90 days. So I still need to update that there. Kind of a slow week, which is weird to say because the numbers are still really good. It's just last week had such an explosive week stats wise. The videos this week, my 7 videos, range wise, the lowest was only 698 views, which is low comparatively for what my videos have been consistently doing. And then the highest was 3,653. So individually, the videos weren't hugely successful, but I mean, I still had 221,000 views in 7 days. I still had almost 10,000 likes and 1,000 and some change new followers. So still definitely significant numbers. It's just funny to think of it as a slow week just because of how crazy last week was. And then for Mern, I actually posted 2 videos this week. So for the last 7 days on TikTok, I had 2,050 views, 35 likes, 1 new follower to get to 68. And then on Instagram, 322 accounts reach, 16 likes, 0 new followers. So still at 23. And then last section over here, the stats for the Creator Rewards program. Over the last 7 days, 5 of my 7 videos were 60 seconds or longer. And out of those 5 videos, well, I guess I shouldn't say that because this total views could be including videos from last week too. But over the last 7 days, the total views I had on videos that were 60 seconds or longer is 34,000. qualified views, which I talked about last week. What it means to be a qualified view is 12.4 thousand. So over the last 7 days, I've accumulated $13.58. And then all time, which is just the last 2 weeks, because this is only the second week that I've been in the program, total of 9 videos, 60 seconds or longer, 73.4 thousand views in total. And of that, 26.6 were qualified views, leaving me with current total earnings of $28.84. Any comments on any of the numbers?
I really just had a few comments. Do you have an expense tracker?
Yes. You can see it up
And
here.
what's that?
You can see it up here.
Nice. And we've earned our first dollar, 28.84. How are we going to calculate a profit? Because I know like your situation is obviously super unique where your product is also a need. Like you
Mm-hmm.
need to eat the
Mm-hmm.
food. And we talked about this briefly, but how much of that are you including in your expenses? How much are you not? Have you thought about like paying yourself labor, um, all that kind of stuff? Have you thought about like how those expenses and like how like an income statement would look like for you?
Yes. It's going to definitely be a little bit complicated at the moment. All the expenses that I've been putting are just my entire grocery bills,
Hmm.
which is where it gets kind of complicated because I'm probably not using every single thing on that list for Cooking
Mm.
Depot, but I really do use pretty much everything because even if I'm not using it that week or that month,
Yeah,
even
you're counting.
because a lot of times I freeze stuff, yeah, it ultimately does get used, and I really do film pretty much everything that I make. So there's not many things that I'm eating that don't make it onto the page.
And yeah, I don't think it even needs to necessarily make it on the page. Like if you buy a cooking utensil that's never going to be on the
Right.
page, like
Mhm.
that's still an expense.
Yep.
And if you're even if you buy a bunch of food that you just cook for a meal, could be considered practice for the final product. So I mean, I think you should just include all of those grocery bills for sure. But
Yeah, and I even moving forward am going to include any filming equipment, any lights that I buy, stuff like
yeah,
that too.
yep, your microphones, your lights,
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Oh, one last thing that I did want to kind of point out for the all-time stats, one trend that I noticed today whenever I was looking at it, Instagram follower-wise has kind of really picked up the last month or so. You can see here that each week I got 12. This one was lower, but 12, 9, 10, 8. That was much higher than like the previous month where I was gaining 3, 2, 4 followers a week. So it's nice to see that, yeah, Instagram is still much behind TikTok, but it is seeming to pick up a little bit there.
And it looks like it's almost plateaued for YouTube a little bit. Same trend. Highlight the same boxes for YouTube. Those versus the next month. Looks
Yeah.
pretty similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
And same thing with the views, even.
Yeah, definitely.
That's interesting. Do you have any insight on why that may be or any thoughts?
I don't. YouTube is just weird, I think.
Yeah,
Like you
because the subscriber numbers have still grown at a steady rate
yeah,
and like all the numbers still look really good. It's just they don't seem to make any like sense.
right. Yeah, I don't know.
But I did write down YouTube and progression of creator money. YouTube meaning, do you have any ideas or thoughts or projections of when you anticipate earning a dollar from YouTube?
Well, YouTube, you need 4,000 subscribers. So I'm still quite a ways off. I'm only at 190. So I don't see that happening within the foreseeable future. It's going to be quite some time, but I'm not upset about that because you can see I did start YouTube much less,
Yeah.
much further in the game than I did TikTok. So I don't have a ballpark for that yet. No, I would have to have something happen like with TikTok where it started to spike like um
Yeah, because looking at these TikTok
like
ones, I mean,
TikTok, like it really took off when that dipping oil. So where did it went to, yeah, from like here to here. Like
the other
I need a
interesting
week
thing
like
to
that.
notice, and this could be complete coincidence, right? And probably is more than anything, but the TikTok also, the TikTok's blow up is also aligned with when you started posting Instagram and YouTube.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, TikTok started blowing up here, Instagram I started here, YouTube I started here.
Yeah. And it's interesting that the entire how long it took the TikTok to start really blowing up is still longer than you've been doing YouTube yet
Definitely. Yeah,
by like a good bit,
for
right? By
sure.
like a whole month
Yeah.
plus.
Yeah.
And then go back to the dollar one. Yeah, yeah. How do you see that progression going? That's obviously some exciting numbers there. Pretty much doubled week over week, consistently making about $15 a week. That's exciting, one. And two, do you have any goals around where you anticipate this going, where you hope it's going? Or are you going to try to increase the 60-second videos to try to increase this, or just kind of keep organically doing your thing, or just any kind of thoughts there?
I definitely want to continue just organically doing my thing. It takes a lot more to create a 60-second video than it does one that's less. And
Sure.
it's more than just even filming. Like it takes significantly longer to film a video like that because it takes longer to make something that there's more involvement in recipe wise. And then even on the editing side, it takes me significantly longer to edit a video that ends up being 60 seconds compared to one that's like 15 seconds. Because, so for example, like the last 2 days, my videos were 10 or 15 seconds, and I was able to knock those out in, I don't know, 30 minutes maybe. But like from start to finish, editing to having everything captioned, everything covered, done, posted, the whole nine. When you when I make a 60-second video, it's taken me for sure over an hour, if not like hour and a half, potentially even 2 hours to fully edit it. And then also make it so that, because then I'm also keeping in mind that YouTube can't be more than 60 seconds. So I really try to have it
I was
be.
just gonna say that. Ironically, like you want
So yeah, so I
your
really try to
videos to
keep
be
it in
long.
between like 60 and 65 seconds. So that adds a layer of complexity to it as well. So there's just a lot that goes into a video making it be 60 seconds. So yes, I want to have as many as I possibly can, but I don't want to kill myself and I don't want to lose the fun in it either, because right now I am having a lot of fun in it. And like a lot of times I have an idea of something that I want to make, but kind of the putting it together at the end is all I need to film if I don't need a 60-second video. So rather than filming the entire process, I can just film me like
Pieces.
building the sandwich or whatever I'm making. And it just is so exponentially faster that sometimes that's all that I have the capacity for that day. And
Mhm.
I don't I don't want to take away from like I said, the fun in it and allowing myself to have those days where that's all I film kind of thing, you know?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I wrote down there could be two new goals for you around YouTube and TikTok creator program.
Mhm.
But like if these goals are gonna make it so that, like you're saying, it's gonna focus you too much on the money side and not have fun, then ignore these. But I think a good goal would be to make your first YouTube dollar. Like you said, that's down the road, but like we said, it happens quickly. And just like you thought, the February was going to be a good time for the 10,000 on
Mhm.
TikTok. It obviously was much exponentially faster.
Yeah.
So I think just putting the goal out there for the first dollar on YouTube can't hurt, putting that energy into the universe. And then same kind of theme with that of putting a dollar figure on how much you want to be making from the creator program per month, just as a goal, so that it's out there and like that's a number that you're striving for. Like this is a side hustle that you want to produce this amount per month, etc.
Yeah.
And I think putting something like that out there into the universe is good too.
I definitely have a follow up to that question, but before I do that, are you guys done looking at the stats? Can I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Um, I do have one of my things in my notes to talk about tonight is creating new goals because last week we talked about how I was able to cross out 2 of my 3. So I definitely want to make new goals, and I probably will make 2 in regards to how much money I make in the creator rewards program. The first one, I really just want to like pick a number that I want to make like all time kind of make. So whether it be
Hmm.
$1,000, whatever I set, like I one of my goals is to get to this number of all time. And then
Hmm.
a second goal for that would be eventually to get to a certain dollar per month because that's the end goal,
Hmm.
right? Is to be able to be making enough money that eventually the side hustle becomes the hustle, you know?
Right.
So I really don't have a whole lot left to talk about. I did change just some general update stuff. I did change one of my pinned videos, and whenever I went to change it, it wouldn't let me pin it without removing one of mine. So like way back quite a while ago in one of the episodes we talked about pinning videos, and there is a limit. The limit that you can pin on TikTok is 3. So I removed one of my videos that I had pinned, and I added the one meal prep video that has like 350 something thousand views. So I changed that. And then one other thing to note is there's a girl that has a cooking page on Instagram. Actually, let me look up her name so I can give her a shout out. She mentioned, I got a notification that she mentioned me on her story. So I looked at it and she had posted actually the video I was just talking about that I pinned on TikTok. She had posted that reel on her story on Instagram. And so I just messaged her back, like saying, like, love it or something like that for her posting me on her story. And her name is Madison, and her handle is at mad underscore hungry with 2 Y's, MAD underscore hungry with 2 Y's. And so then she messaged me back and she was like, I'm obsessed with your videos. I want to make everything. So I thought that was just really cool that like she has a cooking page herself and she was saying that about mine. So we were messaging back and forth a little bit. So that was just pretty cool. Haven't had that experience yet. Um, but then other than that, I just have my to-do list and goals for the upcoming week. I want to continue knocking away at the Thanksgiving Christmas prep. I didn't get any of them filmed this past week. Friday night, I was planning on doing 3 videos, 2 being Christmas videos, and 1 being my meal prep before I left for the weekend. And I just got really into the book I was reading on the couch. And then by the time it was like 8 o'clock, I'm like, all right, I need to start doing something at least. And then I realized that I was missing one ingredient for each recipe. So I literally couldn't have done a single one of the 3 without going to the store. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to relax and read. So I didn't get any of those done, but I still want to keep chugging through those, and I am finally home this weekend for the first time in 4 weeks. So even though I've only filmed 6 out of the 12 that I'd like to be at, I see myself doing some catch up this weekend, and then I'm out of town next weekend, and then I'm here for a few weekends in a row. So I do think I will get caught up on that. I'm just definitely behind a little bit right now. And then the next goal, we already talked about. My next goal is, or my next thing to do is to update my goals. And then I really need to get the LLC, EIN number, bank account stuff moving, because I'm at $28 total now. And once it gets to 100, it pauses. So I need to get that moving for sure. And then the last thing to do is just to really have a productive week while I'm here, to get some stuff done, both filming wise on the back end side with the LLC, that stuff, and even reaching out to brands, like the back end stuff as well, just being productive while I'm here. And then the only goal that I haven't crossed out yet, the 2 that we crossed out, was make the first dollar and 10,000 followers on TikTok. So the only goal that I haven't crossed out as my goals that currently stand is first paid brand deal. And that's all I got before shouting myself out. So you guys got anything before I do my shout outs?
This is more of a comment than a question. I think kind of how you said, like, it was cool, like, being able to message back and forth with that other individual who has a cooking page.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be cool to, like, not, like, bond over, like, both, like, going through the same thing, but, like, sharing stories, like, figuring out, like, what she did that worked, or, like, what she did that didn't work, like, depending on, like, obviously what her platform really is and, like, how many followers she has and whatnot. I just think it'd be cool to, like, share different experiences that you're both going through to kind of help each other out.
Definitely build a relationship there for sure.
Yeah.
Young Money? Nothing?
Nope.
All right, then you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at cookin.depot, cooking without the G, cookin.depot. And then on YouTube, it's just Cookin' Depot. There's no period. And then my more lifestyle personal content is my nickname Mern. So it's MERN period _ And that is on TikTok and Instagram.
Alrighty, that does it for today's episode of the 3 Path Profits podcast. We want to thank you guys for listening and encourage you to leave comments or questions to help us improve moving forward. We'll be posting episodes every Friday, so please stay tuned and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any episodes or important updates from us. If you enjoyed the podcast, please tell a friend or family member you think would enjoy, and also please be sure to check out our social media pages on TikTok and Instagram at 3.path.profits. We appreciate your guys' support, and we'll catch you next week.
Peace.
Bye.